Earlier today, you heard our alleged president, Joe Biden, lie to the American people again. Now, certainly the American people are used to the government lying to them. And in fact, I chronicled that in my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. But we have never heard lies to this extent. We heard this alleged president tell us that anyone that wants to get out of Afghanistan can get out, that they can even come to the airport, no problem, that our allies are not critical, if not outraged at what's going on, that we're making efforts to save our people and the Afghan allies that helped us for the last 20 years, when in fact it's only the British and the French that are doing it. And why is that? Because Biden, politically, as well as his evil witch of a Vice President, Kamala Harris, who just showed up, by the way, said nothing, stood there like an idiot, as well as Anthony Blinken, this guy who was educated at Yale, degree in philosophy. That does not make you National Security Advisor. It doesn't qualify you, and we can now see why. He tells people that the allies think what he did was swimmingly well. Well, again, you have to ask yourself the question if this isn't part of a master plan of the left and of Biden and Harris and those that support them. First, they take total control of the American people, using COVID-19 as an excuse, with mandates, restrictions, more on the horizon to come, with, in fact, approvals to be able to go into public buildings and everything else. It's unbelievable. Then they destroy the economy with regard to handouts to people, bankrupting us, making future generations pay, to the point that you can't even find somebody to drive a Uber car anymore, because why do that when you're getting free money? Raising taxes, which is on the horizon. Our southern border, which is being overrun by drug traffickers and human traffickers and people with COVID. Lies about what's going on with regard to the Delta variant. We don't know what that is. Pushing vaccines on people when we don't even know it's safe. Now telling us that they were never effective in the first place. You're going to have to get a booster shot. And today lying again, saying that you're not going to have one every year. Well, how's that not the case when they've just admitted that you have to have a booster shot every 8 months? The worst part is we don't know what's in this vaccine, and the FDA hasn't even approved it. Even the corrupt FDA, which is in the back pocket of Big Pharma, hasn't approved it. But this Afghanistan issue, which endangers the security of the American people, not just with regard to the terrorists which are now going to come back to Afghanistan to use as a base, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, others, but Taiwan, Israel, South Korea, Japan, our major allies, can no longer depend on the United States. Is this part of a master plan of the left using Biden and Harris to destroy this country and to take it down to ground zero and then divide everything up, and then they'll seize control? They already have seized control, but total control where we can't come back. At the same time, we have the administration, as we would call it, if you want to call it that, committing one crime after another. Biden himself has taken bribes from communist China, Ukraine, Russia. We know that he was to get a 10% cut at a minimum from Tony Bobulinski, who was working with his son Hunter Biden, laundering this money. The American people, unfortunately, have not been well educated, and that's why we're doing these YouTube videos. They voted for this guy. And while as a public interest head, I don't tell people who to vote for. I can tell you Larry Klayman personally did not. But we need to understand that we are now in grave danger. I did my radio show this week. Tune in to freedomwatchusa.org and listen to that. I had a Gold Star parent on, Doug Hamburger, whose son died in the biggest loss of life in Extortion 17, when 31 special ops went down 3 months after bin Laden was allegedly killed. We are living in grave danger. The people who served our military are dishonored. They are being, in fact, spit upon as if nothing mattered for the last 20 years. Not even the courtesy, much less the courage to get our people out of Afghanistan. 22 GIs that have fought overseas in the theaters in Iraq and Afghanistan, plus are killing themselves, suicides, every single day. And this disgrace of a president, this dangerous president, this president who is more than brain dead, he obviously has the onset of Alzheimer's. He doesn't even know where he is. During his little presentation, which was canned, notice how he called only left-leaning media to talk, to ask questions. He knew what the questions were. He acknowledged that in advance because he can't handle them. Even the leftists trashed him because he's now taking even down the radical left. That's how bad it is. The time has come, peacefully and legally, for the military to go to the White House and say, not a coup d'etat, but just tell him it's time to leave. You have destroyed our military. You have nearly destroyed our entire country. And who should leave with him? Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. These people are a significant risk to the continuing existence of this country, which is all but dead at this point. And where is the Republican Party? Nowhere to be found. We just see Lindsey Graham out there talking every now and then when he's not with his boyfriend. He's obviously culpable too. What about the people on the intelligence committees? What about those that were on national security committees? Where were they? Now they're critics of what's going on for political purposes so the Republicans can be reelected, come back and do nothing again. In a separate organization, I'm starting a new political party, the New American Independence Party. Watch what I do, not part of Freedom Watch, not part of americasheriff.org. And of course, we do have americasheriff.org because part of this master plan of the leftists is to have crime increase at an unbelievable rate, where people can't even feel secure sitting in a cafe without fear of getting a knife in your back or being shot or whatever, as if they're Israelis sitting in Jerusalem and the Palestinians about ready to slit your throat. This is where we are. This country is going down the drain. Now, does God have a master plan? Perhaps. The thing is that sometimes he has to destroy civilizations to create new civilizations, as he's done over time. Has it come to that point in this country? And that's why I wrote my book, It Takes a Revolution. That's why I say every day that I do a podcast, or when I do the radio show or another show or some other conservative media personality, I say God will only help us if we help ourselves. Freedom Watch held a Third Continental Congress in Philadelphia, the so-called city of brotherly love, my birthplace, on July 5th and 6th. We began the discussion whether we need to declare independence. And on top of that, we have our citizens' grand juries where we're holding the criminals in government and on the judiciary accountable for having destroyed this country. But we, the American people, will do it peacefully and legally. We will take the country back. We will see where we go. But American people must mobilize, and we must not be afraid. We cannot be afraid of the FBI, which is being used as the Gestapo of the left and of Biden and Harris, because we have God on our side. And just like our founding fathers who invoked the divine providence against another despot, far less worse than what we've got now, King George III, if we help ourselves, God and his Son will help us too. That's my message for today. We don't have years. We don't even have months. We have days. Look at the people that are in control of this country, both Democrat and Republican. More than a disgrace, a threat to the very existence of our nation. So rise up. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Join our Justice League. Support our citizens' grand juries. Support our Third Continental Congress. Join other groups if you have to that are actually doing something. You yourself have your own destiny in your hands. And think about your kids and grandkids. They're already living in hell right now, but it's going to be an absolute communist hell if you don't take action now, peacefully and legally. That's my message. If you need any confirmation about what I'm saying, then go out on YouTube and watch this press conference by so-called President Biden, so-called President Vice President Kamala Harris, and his stooges sitting next to him, Anthony Blinken. Absolute disgrace. It's frightening to the core. And the American people must now rise up with the help of the Father and the Son. Thank you for listening to me. I'll be back with another YouTube video this Monday. In the meantime, think about it. If you care about your kids, grandkids, and future generations, get to work.